Hey guys, welcome back to the vlog. I've been looking forward to this one for a while. It's my good friend Harli Ames.
Hi guys.
You may recognize him from top TV shows, videos, movies.
Yes, I've done a fair bit on TV, on film. I just did a show called Harrow, which is an ABC production. It's also an international co-production. I was in, TV show The Rush, Secret Lies, Fool's Gold, The Cup. Shot here based on the Melbourne Cup. Anyway, I won't bore the people.
No, I will.
Just go to IMDb.
Yeah, I'll link your IMDb in the description below. Harli and I actually got to meet each other in Los Angeles, the City of Angels. Harli and his wife Kate moved to LA. When did you move? 2011?
Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah, we got married and went straight to Los Angeles and had a 3-year honeymoon. So it was about 2011.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was there a couple of years ahead of you and got introduced to you, I don't even know how.
Stephanie.
That's
Stephanie knew Sim. And
correct,
Kate. Yeah.
Well, there you go. When you live abroad, those that watch that live abroad know that everyone becomes your family, your immediate family. So Harli came to LA to grow his acting career and become part of some of those big blockbusters. I think you got a gig with Jake.
Yeah, so look, the last big thing I did here was that film called The Cup, and I spoke with my agents and they said, look, it's going to be screened in America as well. Why don't you kind of go and I know you got some momentum to go and check out Los Angeles, and so my wife and I decided to go, and after we got ourselves set up, I was doing some auditions, and one of the first big things I got was with Jake Gyllenhaal in a big blockbuster film, but as you know, that story didn't
I think that's very important. So you're in LA,
and
I'm going to bring you through the scene. You got an opportunity to audition for a Jake Gyllenhaal movie where you were going to co-star with him.
Yeah, that's right.
And we went out for dinner.
Yeah.
And sushi.
Yeah.
I remember Momed in Beverly Hills on South Beverly. I remember that very clearly.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit unsure about the sushi, but I remember the conversation.
Yeah.
And so Harli was actually I had a dog pet loo business that was focused on pet waste management, sexy category of the pet industry. Everyone's focused on feeding the dog. I was focused on what happened after the dog had eaten, and built a brand called Pet Loo. And Pet Loo had just came into contact with a brand new technology for cat litter. It sounds really dry, and we went to market with a bunch of ads, and I asked Harli to coach me and teach me and kind of get me through how I can present. It was called Fresh Air Cat Litter, and I can get into the details if you want, but I basically needed a coach. And Harli coached me to create a bunch of TV ads.
I remember that. So how it played out is I remember the film that I was contracted to and working on fell apart, and you and I had some sushi together and we were talking about it, and I was pretty disappointed by the whole thing. And I said, a lot was attached to that, financial security. It was going to be a job that was going to get momentum from that. And you said, hey, I need your skills anyway. Why don't you come work with me? And so that was a really good experience. I really enjoyed it. I remember us getting together, and you were, I guess, preparing for what you were going to say on camera.
Yeah.
And we rehearse it like a professional actor would do either a commercial or a monologue, and we work using the skills of storytelling and being authentic, and that was really good. And actually, that was kind of the beginning of it, wasn't it?
Well, that word authentic,
you
highlight that. I remember your business now, which is Kun Communications, and you calling me up going, I've got this idea around authenticity, how to be yourself, how to be natural, and then we started exploring this. Let's fast forward, 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, and today, are you still pursuing acting?
Yeah, I am, but it's my business is so busy right now
Yeah.
that the acting thing's becoming secondary.
Yeah.
It was my main priority, but when a great opportunity presents itself, I make it a priority. So if it's a great film role or a TV role.
So here's the lesson in this vlog today. Harli was on his way into Hollywood, and whether or not I was a direct influence or whether or not I was someone that helped you see an opportunity, moments after that was realized, you literally pivoted, I would say almost your entire life.
Yeah.
From being focused as an actor to using the skills and all of the success you had as an actor and the accolades that you had at the schools that you've had, to pivot into a corporate business that now coaches and advises and does courses for some of the biggest companies in the world. I mean, we're not going to be name dropping here because that's not the point of this vlog, but I'll tell you this, some of those big companies that do their key product launches, this guy's responsible for how they look, how they act, how they walk, how they talk. And so massive ups. Do you want to just dive a little bit deeper on what Kun is today and sort of like the pivot point from being in Hollywood to pivoting to becoming, I mean, I'm lucky to have you on the vlog today. This has been planning for months. He's been in Singapore, UAE.
Yes, I go to UK, China, I go to Japan, I go to Korea. So I travel a lot. My wife doesn't see me as often as she'd like, but you know, Toby, I remember when I was in Los Angeles, like I was just talking earlier, when that film that I was attached to fell apart, you know, the truth was I got pretty depressed because it was an opportunity I thought, you know, was going to really, you know, be a good stepping stone for my acting career and, like I said, financial security. And my wife and I were newlywed, so you know, had a new wife and wanted to set up a new life. And we went out to eat, and I remember us having this discussion, going, look, you know, I'm not sure this acting thing. There's extreme highs and extreme lows. And we talked about the skills that I had. So I was a high school teacher many years ago at the age of 22. And then at 27 got accepted into NIDA. So became a professional actor.
And weren't you, just on NIDA, weren't you one of like the youngest, or wasn't there an accolade?
Actually, I was the oldest.
You were the oldest
to
win an accolade or something?
Well, yeah, look, usually NIDA actually likes to take them a bit younger, some straight out of high school, some in their early 20s. They don't really accept people much more mature and older because they're set in their ways. And they're difficult to teach and unlearn bad habits that they've learned. So at 27, they did take a risk on me because I think usually that kind of 19 to 25 is the bracket. So I was very fortunate that they took me on board, and I stayed there for 3 years, and I got a really good agent, probably one of the best in the country at the time, and started working as an actor. So when you and I were talking at that dinner, and I said, you know, look, this acting thing fell apart, I'm not sure. He said, you know, you kind of highlighted, you know, that's not all you can do is acting. Remember, you have your education background. I worked also in the Board of Education for a year at the age of, I think it was about 24, designing school curriculums. So I understood what it was to design training programs, school education programs.
This is the path, by the way, because I know how it ends. And it hasn't ended, but I know where we're going.
So it was that dinner that you actually planted the seed that said, do you realize you've got a lot of skills that you've accumulated from your teaching background, working at the Board of Education, you're a trained actor, you know, you should really think about how to help people in communication. It was, I just remember walking away going, oh, that's interesting. That we worked together, and I really enjoyed that. I was wonderful to watch you get more confident and develop your skills. You know, and authentic, your voice came through. It was really Toby. You were in control of your performance. I went, this is actually quite cool. Then we talked about starting a business, and I thought, what would that look like? And the three things that really were important to me was, how do you remain present in the moment, which as an actor is very important. You know, you're in the moment with the other person alive in the scene, so it's very raw and natural. So to be present, to be authentic, you know, to be yourself, a version of yourself that people go, you know what, I trust that person, they're real, you know, they're not putting on a facade, they're not trying to be something that they're not. So being present, being authentic, and being bold was the other motto. So to take that risk, you know, there's a great quote I once heard which really resonated with me, that, you know, if there's no risk involved, you cannot evolve. And that really struck a chord. You've got to take that risk. So Kun is an Arabic background, that's my heritage, and I have a tattoo on my arm, which reminds me, it means to be present, you know, be present. So that's what we call the business, Kun Communications. Be present, be authentic, be bold. And then, lo and behold, when I pivoted and opened myself up to a whole new way of life, new opportunity, I met an American guy who I was working with. He ran an events company, and I was an Australian barman at these, you know, very fancy parties. And he said, "Look, you know, you're an Aussie, you're an actor, you can pour drinks, come and work at these parties." And I did a few of these.
That's the hustle.
Yeah,
so it's pouring drinks.
Pouring drinks at these fancy Hollywood parties. You know, very elaborate parties. And after getting to know him on a few occasions, I worked for his parties, we developed a friendship, and he said, "Hey, you know what, you should really meet my friend." And I was like, "Yeah, I'll meet your friend. You know, LA, everyone says I have a friend you should meet. You should really meet my friend." And
by the way, LA, or just living abroad, Simone and I, my wife and I, had this rule that you can't say no. Because you just never know what's going to happen. And by the way, no one wants to be friends with someone that constantly says, "No, I can't make it tonight," or "I can't go out." So you just put yourself out there. Which is what you did.
Yeah, that's right. So I met with his friend, and it was like, okay, I'll meet with your friend, and he gave me his details, and I happened to be someone who was very high up in a very well-established company, we'll call it a global company, and we had a coffee and a sit-down, and we had 45 minutes together, a chat, and he asked me about my background, we talked about Australia, and he said, "Look, I'd like you to design a pilot program, and the area we do a lot of is we do a lot of presenting, and our information needs to be clear, concise, and engaging when they stand up and present, because that's not, you know, time is very valuable in business. If I don't understand what you're saying, or I'm not listening, information will get lost, and then we have some confusion, and then we cause, you know, some problems in the business."
To bring that back to our viewership here, you know, we ran a pitch night up here at Creative Cubes, and some amazing companies won, but I'll make a bet with you that the best companies didn't win. And the reason why they didn't win versus the others is because their message wasn't clear and concise. It was confusing, and while they all did an amazing job, not to talk down or belittle anyone, the skills that this specific company was after should be a message to this audience here. Clear, concise, to the point, no dribble, no fluff, be authentic, be bold. And
you know, what was, I guess, the key learning in working with this particular company, that was the first company, and still working with them, a lot of people were spending a lot of time in collating the content, the information, the data, and putting the slides together, but actually hadn't worked on how they were going to communicate their message. And that's where it fell down. So if we were talking about it out of 100%, they put, 70% of their energy and focus was pulling it all together content-wise, and only maybe 20-30% on how they're going to communicate it. And it needs to be at least 50-50.
Sure.
You know, if people aren't listening to you, then the information that you've worked so hard to collate is being lost. So that's one of the first things I did for this company, and they loved it because it was experiential, the training we designed. And just to give you some background, my wife is, as you know, a doctor of clinical and forensic psychology.
Hi, Kate.
She's a very intelligent woman, much more intelligent than I am.
That's right. I totally resonate with you.
So we combine our skill set, and what we combine in our business is we teach skills and techniques that actors use to engage in the audience. So that's storytelling, voice, body, connecting, eye contact, and how do you command a space. That's one component. The second component is how do you deal with the performance anxiety. People get nervous. When they have to stand up in front of a large group of people or they're talking to senior managers, they get an element of anxiety, and that anxiety can also get in the way of what they're trying to communicate. So we teach some techniques through what Kate brings on as a psychologist to help bring some mindfulness, and we create some really good preparation rituals to help people remain calm and composed in those high pressure situations. And the third component is a focus on wellness. And that means your mental and physical health. So we fundamentally believe how you live your life outside of work is going to impact how you perform at work. So we create these, with our clients, rituals and preparation of, having a very good look at what are you currently doing? Like, as an example, how would a tennis player prepare before they go out on court? What is their ritual? From the night before to the moment they walk onto their court, there are certain actions, from everything from their sleeping to their water hydration to their stretching there's a lot.
Everything's connected.
To perform at that level that they're expected. It's the same thing within business as well. When you have an opportunity, you need to be your best version of yourself. So we bring those together, those three skills, the acting, the performance anxiety, and wellness. We designed a program. It's been very successful. We're working with some of the biggest companies and brands in the world.
And you guys will have seen, although you don't realize it, some of Harli's work behind the scenes with some of those companies that have gone out on some of the biggest stages in the world to deliver, whether it's a keynote presentation or a interview or whatever the case may be. Some of his work is realized behind the scene. What I really want to articulate, I'm going to link all of Kun's detail, or Harli's and Kun Communications details in below. You can also check out his IMDb. What I want to really get across to the audience here today is that you were heading on this path, which was, hey, I'm headed to, this isn't a metaphor, this is real. He was headed to Hollywood to work with some of the biggest actors, and along this path of his journey was a meal with me, which I don't take full responsibility for. Did I pay?
I think I'm going to pay, but you gave me something that is worth more than that dinner. So
as long as I paid my due. But then intercepted, and actually now, as a result, you're on the airplane, you're in front of the biggest companies in the world on a regular basis, executing and dealing with skills that ordinarily were deployed for another purpose. Another example, a really good friend who lives in Los Angeles as well, always used to come to me and say to me, look, I own these 3 retail shops, and things are good, but I'm bigger than this, I'm better than that. And he always thought of himself as having more skill than what was truly shown in his day-to-day. And what I helped to bring out in him was, owning those shops, you're understanding P&L, you're understanding how to work with or manage people, how you, I looked at it completely different to, I'm selling candy in a shop, or I'm selling the consumable that someone needs. There's so much more going on, and if you take a good hard look at yourself from a raw skill perspective, and understand where you can deploy those raw skills, you may find that pot of gold, or those larger opportunities that Harli's found along the course, which might actually be where you're supposed to be headed in the first place. And so all of that history, that NIDA, that all the TV stuff, all of that was grooming you to be able to execute the big stuff that you're doing today.
Absolutely.
And so, guys, here's the net. There's no win and loss in this thing they call life. What there is there's wins and learnings. And if you can learn from some of those things that you thought were going to be wins, but didn't actually end up being a win, and you can pivot yourself just a slight. You don't have to. In some cases, you may have to do a full 180. In other cases, it might just be 5 degrees difference, right, or 10 degrees difference in this case, and you can go about execute it. You know, you might find this way more enjoyable, which is what I'm hearing from your perspective.
Yeah, I'm pretty lucky with the job that I've got, you know.
And it's also rewarding. I haven't heard Harli say once, "Oh, money's great. I'm crushing it." He's like, "I love what I'm doing. I love how." And by the way, he is getting rewarded financially.
You know, just to really point out what you just said and accentuate that, you know, you made me understand what are my assets. You know, how can I help people with what I've accumulated through my knowledge over the years. So that was probably something I hadn't done before. So I think it was that, how can I contribute and help people? That's the essence. It wasn't like, what's a good business idea? It was more like, what do I truly have that can make a difference to people or businesses? And that was the first time I looked at, well, I have an education, I know how to communicate, I know knowledge, and I know storytelling through acting, I know how to stand up front. So all these things, you made me look at that and I go, oh, this is how I can add value.
Correct.
This is how I can help people and other organizations. And then just so happens that I'm doing what I believe I'm really good at because of the years of experience, and it comes very naturally to me, and I'm making a difference in people's lives and making a living out of it, and very happy and blessed with being able to contribute to people. So we've designed about 6 different training programs, my wife and I, using the psychology and the acting, and there's some group training programs that we've designed. We've also been approached by companies who say, can you do something bespoke? Can you do something for us? This is our need. We want something very specific to our culture, that we want. So what we do is we have an understanding of learning. We spend some time with that company, that culture, and we design something very bespoke for them. And I'm also an executive coach, which is I'm working one-on-one with very high level leaders. So we're talking, VPs, CEOs, directors of companies as an executive coach. And there I'm working on EP, which is executive presence, gravitas, communication, appearance, how a person conducts themselves as a leader, which is what I'm doing as a coach.
Incredible stuff. I'm gonna ask you to come back when you're not traveling as much, and we'll dive into other topics, other conversations.
Sure.
At the very least, I really want you guys perhaps rewind and start from the beginning. There's some really powerful learning lessons here. There's some really powerful stuff, which has ultimately, you were heading down a path and you pivoted in another direction, which has been way more fruitful than the original path you thought you were going down.
100%.
In all aspects, forget about the money.
Yeah.
In all aspects of what you do.
Yeah.
And I think that those that are looking at these vlogs on the regular and going, I've got an idea, I don't know where to start, or you're heading down a path and you're not getting the traction, step back, think about your skill set, think about where else that can be deployed, and then reconsider your position. Because this guy is living proof of something that was going well. I mean, he was in LA, in Hollywood, and something even bigger than he ever thought would happen happened. So lessons, winnings and lessons, never a fail.
No, stay open. Just really stay open.
Thank you, man.
I appreciate it so much.
I'll have Harli back. We've got Q&A coming up later this week. We also have another visitor who joined me in December from LA, and I grabbed a couple of other vlogs, and I'm going to load those to the platform in the next couple of days, so you'll be able to join in on that. I look forward to having you back.
I look forward to being back.
All these details will be in the link in the description below. This is the awkward part where Harli sits there while I go turn off my camera. Thanks for having us.
See you guys.
Thanks, guys.